All right, today is Saturday, August 9th. Time for another Buoy 10 update. Today is probably the last day for a long time, at least a week, that we're going to be able to slide out into the ocean. So that is exactly what we did this morning. It was pretty darn splashy. There wasn't a really bad swell. The bar was pretty easy. There were no restrictions this morning, but it was definitely snotty because of that north wind, and it made it pretty wet on the ride out there. My plan was to actually go a little bit further north today than yesterday, but man, it was just slop. I had water coming up over the bow just from the wind waves, not from swell, not because of a rough ocean. It was just wind waves. So with that, we headed back south, because what happens is when we get that outgoing tide, a good ebb, the current from the Columbia River coming out almost creates a wall, and for whatever reason it knocks that wind down and that wind chop and even the swell down that's coming in from out of the north, and it makes it a lot calmer down south. So we headed towards the red line and fished pretty much exactly where we did yesterday, around buoy 3 to 1 and a little bit further out, buoy 2 out towards CR, and found plenty of fish. I had an awesome crew today. Had a bunch of women veterans today, and they killed it. I'll tell you what, man, every time we do guided trips, it always seems like women and kids always seem to do the best, and most of the time it's because they listen. Oh, it was great though. They were a well-oiled machine, lots of teamwork. They killed it today. Plenty of action, lots of fish. We got some good Chinook, and actually that was kind of the cool thing, is that with these bigger tides that we're having here the next couple of days, I think they're going to start dropping on Monday, start getting smaller on Monday or Tuesday. And we got 4 or 5 Chinook out there, and heard of a few other Chinook getting caught too, which is excellent, because that means that as these tides are dropping, just like in normal years, we start to see more Chinook pull in on the falling tides. And if they're staged up right there out front, they should be pulling in here the next 4 or 5 days. So next week, going into next weekend, we could see some really good action. As far as river reports, I haven't heard too much yet. Through the outgoing tide, they were getting a few, basically just below the sands, lower sands, like they have been the last couple of days. A few, not a lot, but essentially from Fort down or Hammond down towards Buoy 10 on the last part of that outgo, which is pretty common for these larger outgoes. As the tides start getting smaller here, I think we got 1 or 2 more days. Yeah, 1 or 2 more days of big tides. This incoming tide should be actually pretty good, even all the way through High Slack down towards Buoy 10 or Chinook, Ilwaco, Buoy 20 area. And that's just because of all those fish that we're finding right there between Buoy 4 to 2 and 3 to 1, right there towards the main channel. As that tide flushes in, they're going to see a lot of those fish that we're getting out there push in towards the High Slack. So things are shaping up real nice, really nice. And of course, figures, now that it's hatchery only here in the river, every single Chinook that we got out there in the ocean, hatchery. Now I'm not going to catch a hatchery fish here in the river for the next week. Figures. Blew our load out there today, but man, it was fun. Lots and lots of action. Not as many whales as yesterday, but plenty of action, plenty of fish. It was cool. So there's really not much to catch up on, because I've kind of talked about what we've been using out there, what we've been doing, where we've been at. So I figured what I'd do right now, I'm kind of floating around after dropping carcasses, is talk about the boat. I get a lot of questions about my active target, about how that's set up. I get a lot of questions about the gear, storage, everything else. So let's just do a quick little walkthrough and see if I can help you guys out. We'll just do more on storage and boat layout and stuff like that. So if all you wanted was the Buoy 10 report, there you go. There you have it. There's a few fish caught in the river. Ocean's still really good, but we might be done with the ocean for a while. We might be able to sneak out tomorrow morning for a little bit, but man, if it was windy this morning and tomorrow's supposed to be way worse, I don't know. We'll find out. So let's go through the boat if you want to stay tuned in. Let's start up front with that active target. That was definitely the one question I get the most, is how do I have it set up and why. So I'll start walking up that way. So I got it up here on the bow of my boat, and the reason why is because I want to be able to look back at my gear. So I'm up here at the front of the boat, and all 6 rods are back here behind, and when you put line out 20, 30, 50 feet of line, it goes out further behind the boat too. So I have my active target transducer up here on the bow, so that way I can look back at my gear. And the way I have it set up in scout mode perspective I can see all 6 rods at the same time. And not only can I see all 6 rods, but I can see about 60, 80 feet left and right of the rods, and even 20, 30 feet behind them. So what that allows me to do is to chase groups of fish, see how the fish are reacting. Are they coming into the gear? Are they flaring on the gear? So it just helps give me a little bit more information so I can adjust our technique if needed. So for the mount itself, let me flip it around. For the mount itself, this is from Precision Sonar, but I think there's another company actually called Cornfield that makes a lot of good options. And I had to use this mount specifically, and again, Cornfield makes them too. If you guys are looking for websites, Cornfield or Precision Sonar would be the 2 I'd suggest for these type of mounts. I had to use this one because this is an auto deploy. And if you have a manual deploy, man, there's a ton of options out there that I would much rather prefer. But for this auto deploy, I gotta have one of these static ones that goes all the way up here to the head unit and then drops back into my wiring for the electronics themselves. But again, I got the transducer set up in perspective. That way you can look out and see what is happening back here behind the boat. There you go. Very important. I have learned so much from having it in perspective. I know a lot of folks like to have the transducer back here in the back so you can actually manually turn it around and look at it, but I'm telling you, perspective up on the bow, if you can do it. There are some downfalls to it because it's got to be on the auto deploy and everything else, but for the most part, I learned a lot with it being up there. Okay, let's see what else we're going to do here. Let's go through some storage. Let me get this pole out of the way. Everything on these trips is about controlling the chaos. So first, actually, let's jump over here. Control the chaos. So everything is locked up in these little fish fighter tackle tenders. That way, if we're moving from one spot to the next, or we got a fish on, clearing gear, changing baits, whatever it is, everything is stowed up, locked into place. Can't go anywhere when we're getting bounced around. And we don't have leads flying around. We don't have gear flopping around, hooks ended up in clothing or in people's feet, whatever. Everything has its place. So it's really important to make sure that on your boat, everything is clean, nothing is going to get stepped on, nothing's in the way, everything's all stored up and in its place. Because then once you get your gear in, you have your rhythm for getting stuff in. And actually, I should talk about that real quick. Let me see if I can do this. I wonder if I can do this. I wonder if I can set it up. I don't know if I can. What to do. Well, we'll try it this way. So what I always tell all my people is that when we have our lines in, when you reel up, I always want you to stop at 8 feet on the line counter. Let's see if I can do this one-handed here. Show what I'm talking about. Again, it's about controlling the chaos. So if I go right here, 8 feet on that line counter, and I lift straight up, that lead and flasher, one-handed, come right up into the boat. Again, one-handed here, but usually I grab a hold of that lead, and then I can grab my flasher and store everything back up into the tackle tender. So I always tell people 8 feet on line counter every single time, except for when you got a fish on, then of course bring it all the way to the boat. But at 8 feet on the counter, we can lock everything up, put it in its place. Boom, good to go. Locked in, nothing's flopping around. I don't need to worry about a lead hitting me in the head or someone stepping on a pole and breaking it. So control the chaos, always control the chaos. Be it, have a place on your boat for locking up your flashers and your hooks. In this case, tackle tender, and of course that 8 foot. Remember, 8 feet. 8 feet every single time when you reel in. Okay, what next? Let's go to tackle storage. And actually I can talk a little bit about colors for the river since I'm going to be in the river more. Let's go with this box here. No, that box. No, I don't want that box. Let me get the other one there. That one might be my ocean bag. Let's find out. So these bags here are pretty slick. These are from Wilderness Pack Specialties, and they fit a medium Dave Eng board perfectly. Let's see here. One hand. And you can fit 4 of these Dave Eng boards. Get that hook undone. Come on, little buddy. Isn't this riveting TV right now, guys? Me undoing hooks. That's all fishing guys do, is tie knots and untie knots. Okay, so I got my bag here. and it has 4 of these boards, and I really only like to use 3 or 4 colors for the most part. If I can't get bid on one of those 3 or 4 colors, then I got to start second guessing everything I'm doing. So Bronco always works. Little chartreuse and red, little blue dot here. Mexican hat always works. And then where's the other one I like? There it is, Sunset Barbie. That's Sunset Barbie, that guy right there. So Mexican hat, Sunset Barbie, flip her over. Chartreuse and blue and red, Bronco. That's it. That should be enough for the river when I'm running my spinners. Okay, let's see. What next? Oh yeah, so tackle storage. Everything that I need for the day to repair all my gear while I'm out running. Terminal tackle, box full of all my beads, hoochies, tinsel skirts, all the different blade colors, swivels, the gum puckies I love to have on my main line that I've talked about before. Those things are awesome to protect your eyelets on the tip. Bearing beads, got all my noose rigs over here, different sizes, 2/0 and 3/0. Got my treble hook noose rigs, some snaps for my leads, treble hooks if I just want to run a single treble. And then for the hoochies themselves, these are the fish field hoochies. The minis and the babies are the 2 sizes that I like best. And here they are. One's a little bit skinnier, one's a little bit fatter. But on my spin fish right here, I like the babies. And then on my spinners, I like the minis, like that guy. Those are the fish field hoochies there. Got a ton of colors, they're awesome. Make sure you guys get your stuff ordered up quick too. The season's gonna start getting busy, and wherever you guys are shopping, it's gonna start running out. And here is my blade box for more spinners. What are those? We don't use those anymore. Size 7s. All that extra stuff there. And then we got my 2 spin fish boxes. Got my 3/0s. And my 2 5s. So whatever the fish are biting on out there, I will be ready. What's this top one up here? And top one, all my cut plugs. So there you go. That way when I'm out there in the water, I can adjust and be prepared. Let's see. All that stuff. I got all my soaps for cleaning off my lures and my flashers. All my scents for today. Again, that shrimp scent's been working pretty good right there. Awesome little fish fires, tackle storage here for my pliers and scissors. All my towels for getting off all the jellyfish. Oh man. And then leads. There's a pretty cool little lead storage. See if I can show it to you. Yeah, I can kind of get in there. No way I'm lifting that out of there, all that lead. So what's cool about this guy here is that this is a 16-ounce lead. And I got my 12s, 16s, 20s over here. And instead of trying to figure out what the number is on it, because you can't read it, you just put it up here in this little deal. See if I can show it to you. Look, it doesn't go through. Well, it must not be a 12. Let's try it in the next one. Right over here. Oh, dropped in. That is a 16. Perfect. Love that little lead tray storage. Oh yeah, I was getting asked too where to get leads. You guys can actually get those from Fish Field too. He has 12s, 14s, 16s, and 18s. I know a lot of guys look for the 14s and 18s. And Fish Field does ship lead. And they ship fast too, so there you go. What else? Oh, that's actually something cool I found. Sorry guys, just trying to answer as many questions as I can. Fish bags. So there's this really cool online store called Amazon. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. But Amazon, I found, I always like to find 2-gallon Ziploc bags. And check these out. Typical Ziploc 2-gallon bag, nope. Handle. That's so slick, having little handles, you can put all your fish in it. It's great. So look up Ziplocs 2-gallon with handle. Those have been awesome. Really, really handy. I don't know. I've just been trying to answer a few questions here. Trying to give you guys something to cover because we've just been out in the ocean fishing, catching fish, so it's been kind of the same thing every single day. But I guess with that, if you guys do have questions that you want me to answer, feel free to reach out. You can shoot me an email, you can leave a message here on the YouTube channel, whatever it is, and I'll try and get to those. Oh, that reminds me. I did have one guy ask what websites I go to when I'm trying to get a good forecast for going out in the ocean. And I use Wonderground for just basic weather. And then for my ocean forecast itself, I look at Windy, because Windy will not only show the wind hour by hour, but also the swell direction and size. So I use those two along with, there's a few others like Magic Seaweed, Wet Sand, and whatnot. You just take all that information, try and put it all together. And when you get it all together, you try and get a clear picture on what's gonna happen. But even those forecasts are not accurate. Like for my tide tables, I use the app called A Tides, letter A Tides. And no matter what tide table you look at, like it's just now starting to push in, and it was supposed to be low slack around 9:30 today, I think. And here we are at noon, and it's barely pushing in. So tide tables aren't always accurate either. There you have it. So hopefully that helps you guys out. Again, if you got any questions, hit me up anytime, and I will always do what I can to help. I think tomorrow I will be in the river using some of those spinners I showed, one of those 4 colors. The Mexican hat, Sunset Barbie. I don't know what the chartreuse in red with blue dots called. I'm gonna have to remember what that one is. And of course, Bronco. So wish me luck in the river. Sounds like there's a few around, but like I said, I caught a lot of hatchery fish, hatchery chinook out in the ocean. I probably won't see another hatchery chinook for a week. That's the way it goes. All right, hope that was helpful. See you guys tomorrow. Later.